Till you hear me so loud and clearly, this is the last time you'll ever hear from me.
Hi there guys, welcome to Jonesy's vlog. Apologies, it's been a while since I did my last one, but obviously there's not been another Leeds match to sort of do a report on, and it's sort of been up in the air with GFH capital and sort of new investment, and of course the new manager decision and stuff. So I thought I might as well leave it as long as I could, because it would be a bit pointless doing a vlog and the very next day something completely changed and me having to do a new vlog. So I thought I'd leave it a week or so. So here I am. So obviously since we have last spoken, there's been a lot more sort of news about which managers are probably most likely to want to be Leeds United manager. Obviously we've lost Nigel Adkins to Reading, who he seemed to be most people's #1 choice. A lot of fans really quite liked him. I wouldn't have minded him as manager. I think he did really well with Scunthorpe and Southampton obviously, but I feel we needed someone that just, I don't know, just someone a bit different to him, maybe someone who maybe could take the pressure a bit more, you know, especially the pressure of being at Leeds United, because you can't doubt the fact that being manager here, you know, you have so much pressure on you, especially from the fans. So I feel we needed someone a bit more different than Adkins, because he's not really sort of felt that pressure before. So the other people in the running, the main sort of names that have especially been named in the Yorkshire Evening Post today, are Brian McDermott, of course, who left Reading. There is Gus Poyet from Brighton. Paolo Di Canio still getting mentioned, and Owen Coyle, who of course left Bolton. So Brian McDermott, I think I would slightly be more in favour of him than I was of Adkins. I just think he's got something a bit more of him. Yes, he probably hasn't had that pressure before, which I was saying about Adkins, but I just think as a manager he just shades it for me over Adkins. So I wouldn't be disappointed with him, but again, it probably won't be my first choice. Paolo Di Canio, I just don't want at the club at all. Now, I'm not saying I don't like him. I think he's definitely got a bright future as a manager in football. That's clear to see with what he did do at Swindon. But for me, he's just not the right guy for us. He, obviously, everyone knows what he's like and his personality and everything, and I think he would probably think he was even bigger than the club, as that kind of came across at Swindon as well. And for me, he would just create sort of more distractions off the field than focusing what was happening on the field. You know, in his press conferences before and after games, sort of just that to me, his time at Swindon, I knew more about what was going on off the field and in his press conferences than what was happening, you know, what was happening with them playing the matches. And for me, that really isn't. That's the last thing that we want at Leeds United. You know, all the focus needs to be the team and what is happening on the pitch, and spending money wise and everything. And I don't believe that Di Canio would do that. Yes, he's got passion, which is something that you need in this job, and that's fantastic to see. But at the moment, I just don't think passion alone would cut it as Leeds United manager. So it's a no to Di Canio. Owen Coyle, again, I wouldn't really fancy him, to be honest. You know, he came under a bit of pressure at Bolton. He did well at Burnley, yes, of course he did well at Burnley in the Championship, getting them up to the Premiership, so there's a bit of pressure there. But I was never really a fan of him, you know, especially in the way that he kind of spoke. He never really sort of inspired me, and I can't see him inspiring a team, you know, having that passion maybe that Di Canio has. But, you know, I think it would be too much of a steady appointment for me, and for me personally, I wouldn't like him. But Gus Poyet, for me, would be my #1 choice without a doubt. You know, he's been at the club before. He knows the workings out there. He knows the facilities. Obviously, Ken Bates hopefully will be completely gone by then. So it will be brand new ownership and everything. So, you know, if he could get the backing, you know, I love some of the stuff that he's got Brighton playing. It was clear before when him and Wise were at the club that it was Poyet that was sort of the brains behind the outfit, and Wise was just kind of there as a front man. So for me, I would have Poyet there tomorrow if he came available. You know, he said in the past, well, not so long ago actually, that he'd quite happily come back to Leeds United at some point in the future. So hopefully, if that could happen, I'd be really, really happy with that. You know, we're just going to have to see what happens. I mean, whether it happens before the season ends, who knows? Obviously, it's all up in the air at the moment who's actually going to be in charge, you know, for next season. Whether it's still going to be GFH, whether it's going to be Steve Parkin, we don't really know. So, are they going to bring a manager in now before someone else takes over and they're going to want someone else? It's difficult to say. And it's difficult to say whether it makes a difference getting in a manager now. Personally, I wouldn't mind it. Neil Warnock's pretty much said that he's going to be going. So, you know, we're not going for the playoffs anymore. So, for me, there's nothing to lose by bringing a new manager in. You know, the longer he's in, the longer he can see what he's got to work with at the club. For me, that's a better thing. He knows how to spend the money wisely in the transfer market. So, yeah, for me, make the change now. And I think that would be the best option, really. So sticking with the investment thing, obviously this week it was announced that 10% of GFH shares has been sold to the International Investment Bank, and they say that this is the start of quite a few sellings of shares and new investments into the club. Now, obviously we don't know how this is going to work. I mean, a lot of people are saying, you know, it's probably going to be 10% here, another 10% there, and then maybe Steve Parkin coming in with a sort of majority shareholder thing, which probably would be a good idea. You know, sort of the more investors that are on, surely that's the more money there, the more money there to be available for the club. I'm not going to go on too much about this because me and finances and numbers just do not go well together. So, you know, I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to all the shares and stakes and everything. But for me, I personally think it was a step in the right direction in the way they were sort of speaking about long-term future and a more stable future, looking towards. I mean, they didn't say it, but really, you know, they're saying that they're talking about the long-term future of getting up into the Premiership, which, you know, I'm got to take it all as positives. Like I say, if there's more and more sort of people interested in buying shares at the club and they've all got money, then for me, surely it's got to be a good thing. So that's all I'm really going to say on that bit, guys. Obviously, today we face Ipswich away. You know, it doesn't really matter anymore because we know we're not getting to the playoffs. It's not mathematically impossible, but it's not going to happen. But Ipswich, especially away, has been a bit of a sort of bogey ground to go to with Portman Road. I went there a couple of seasons ago where we lost out 2-1, and obviously last season we lost out there despite absolutely hammering them. Obviously there was that unfair red card to AD White, I believe, wasn't there? So, you know, it's going to be a tough one, really. I mean, they haven't had the greatest season, but recently they've been doing quite well, especially at home. You know, Mick McCarthy's got them sort of playing some pretty decent stuff. So it's obviously going to be a really hard game. Obviously, I want us to win, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just forget the rest of this season. You know, if we can go out and do really well, then that's fantastic. For me, I'd just start changing the team around. You know, we've got all these youngsters that have signed professional contracts this week. For me, I'd start just slowly bringing them into the squad, you know, especially just on the subs bench. And I'm not saying put them straight into the team, but maybe starting the likes of Chris Dawson, putting them up and then releasing more space on the bench for some of the youngsters, and just changing it up a bit because, I mean, the players that are in the squad at the moment haven't really been, you know, shining themselves in any sort of glory, have they? So for me, I'd just start changing it round, just being a bit experimental, have a bit of fun, and get some of those youngsters used to first team football at Leeds United. You know, it really can't do us any harm. So that's all I really have to say today, guys. It's a bit of a sort of higgledy-piggledy one. Like I say, it's been a few weeks since I did my last one, and it's also going to be a week till I do my next one because I actually go on holiday tomorrow. So obviously there'll be no reports on the Ipswich game today, and there'll be no reports on the Derby game on Monday. But I will be back next Sunday, but it might be a late one, so you might not hear from me until Monday. So yes, so obviously let me know everything that I've said there. Let me know which managers now you'd like from the list. Now Adkins is obviously no longer a target. Let me know who and why you would want them at the club. any different names that I didn't mention there that you think could do a good job. Your views on the investment situation at the club, if you think it's a step forward, if you think it's still, you know, same old, just taking step backs and everything. And please, in the time that I'm away, please do get in contact and let me know how the lads have done against Ipswich and against Derby. You know, then I can maybe do a vlog when I get back, kind of taking all those views together. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, you can get in contact with me on the comments through here or on my Twitter at ChrisJonesLUSC. Hope you all have a brilliant Easter weekend and week off, and I will see you when I get back from Italy. So thank you very much for watching, as always, guys, and I will see you later.